Welcome to week 5 of LIBS 501. This week we are looking at the steps of evaluate and acknowledge. For this week's to-do list, we have our week 5 instructor video. We have a video looking at writing perfect annotations for our annotated bibliography. We have format and annotated bibliography in APA 7th edition video, as well as some examples from other students of their annotated bibliographies. For supplemental materials, we do have what is an annotated bibliography article, and this week's assignment that is due is that annotated bibliography. So for this week, we are looking at evaluating and acknowledging. Again, evaluating is critically examining found information for credibility, reliability, and usability, and acknowledging is crediting that original source of information. So now let's look at annotated bibliographies. What is a bibliography? So this is a list of sources, so the books, journals, websites, everything that you used for researching a topic. These include all of the sources that you looked at and used for your research, regardless of whether or not you use them in your final paper or research. An annotated bibliography includes a write-up evaluating your sources and providing you with context about that source and its usefulness to you. So the difference between a reference page and a bibliography is a reference page looks at the sources you used within your paper. It's what you are citing. A bibliography is everything that you looked at during the research phase, whether or not you used that in the final essay. So why should we create and use an annotated bibliography? So our annotated bibliographies are a resource for you. It's not necessarily a resource for me as your instructor, but it's for you as the researcher and the writer. It is a quick go-to reference to research and articles that you have already read through. It helps remind you what you've already looked at and kind of what you were thinking as you were saying, yes, this is a really good source, or it's not the best. The annotations help you organize and determine which sources to use throughout your paper. And by creating annotated bibliographies, it helps you jumpstart your thinking process as to how and when you would use a source within your own research papers. So again, this is a resource for you, not a resource for me as your instructor. So now let's look at how to create an annotation. And these are kind of broken into 3 steps. So the first step is to summarize. Here you're looking at what are the main arguments being made? What is the point of this article? What topics are being covered and talked about? And really, if someone asked you, what is this article about? What would you tell them? This is just the summary of what's in the article. The second step of the annotation is assessing and evaluating. So here you're asking, how does this source compare with other sources that I have read? Is the information reliable? Is the source or the author biased and or objective? And what is the overall goal of this source? Here's where you're really looking at the meat and potatoes of this source. Is it good? Is it not? Is it useful? And how is it kind of comparing to the other sources? Now, the third and final step is going to be to reflect. So here's where you're looking at, was this source helpful to you? How does it help shape your argument? How can you use this source in your research project? And even how has it changed how you think about your topic? This section of the annotation is really saying, can I use it? Will I use it? Was it a good source for my paper or not? And here is also where you might look at a source and go, it's a really great source, but it's just not working for my needs. So I won't be using this in my final assignment. And that's perfectly fine to include sources like that on your annotated bibliography. So let's look at an example of an annotation. And please don't mind the wonky text and formatting here. I do provide student examples to show you really great annotated bibliography and annotations. So please look through that. So first, what we always have is our citation in APA style listed at the top. Then you will list out your short paragraph, including that annotation. So let's break down what that annotation looks like. So first we have our summary. So this is looking again, what is this article about? It'll be a nice little refresher, a few sentences to really tell you what the article is about. Next, we have our assessment and evaluation. So this is looking at, is this information good? So for this source, the study looked at our 300 participants and showed the significance through statistical tests, so it provides accurate results. I am saying this is a really good source. It's showing what it needs to show, and it proved what it needed to prove. And finally, we have our reflection section. This can just be a sentence or two, and this study is a helpful introduction to yoga and anxiety, which is applicable to my paper. You can also add in where you would use it, how you would incorporate that argument, things like that of yes, I would use it, and here's where I would use it at, or no, it just isn't working with what I need it to be. So for our assignment instructions for our annotated bibliography, here we are writing our annotated bibliography consisting of 5 sources, and all 5 sources must come from academic journal articles. Each annotation will include a citation in APA formatting, a description of the source, as well as a critical analysis of the usability of the source for your final essay. Make sure you are including all 3 aspects of the annotation for full points. Also, feel free to use the sources that you evaluated in last week's discussion board post. For the points breakdown, it is 50 points in total, 10 points for the source quality and type of source, 15 points for the annotation quality and the source evaluation, and 25 points for the citation and reference list formatting. The annotated bibliography rubric is listed both on the instructions document and within the assignment folder. So for this week, for materials to look through, we have our week 5 instructor video, a video on how to write perfect annotations for our annotated bibliography, another video on formatting annotated bibliography in APA 7th edition, as well as examples of other students' work. For supplemental materials, we do have what is an annotated bibliography short article, and our assignment for this week is our annotated bibliography. So again, write an annotated bibliography consisting of 5 sources in APA style, and that assignment is due on Thursday. If you have questions or need assistance as you're working through this assignment, please reach out to me. You can either email or set up a one-on-one meeting. I look forward to looking through your annotations, seeing what sources you're finding, what's working and what's not, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful week.